your name, one interesting thing about you, and then you would use an animal to describe yourself. If you understood what I said, please drop a comment in the chat box saying understood. Just drop a comment in the chat box letting me know that you understood what exactly I just said. So 3 things you're saying: your name, one interesting thing about you, and an animal to describe yourself. So comment in the chat box if you understood what I just said. Okay, I see 2 persons, 3 persons say they understood, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, great. So let me see if I can get 2 more, then I will go ahead. 2 more, then I will go ahead. Okay, that's awesome. Awesome. Okay, now that I know that everybody understands what I have just said, it's time to select the people that I will be selecting. So 4 persons. I want 2 males, 2 females. So I'm going to be very careful with people I speak. I see a Grace James. Grace James. Is there a Grace James here? Grace, she's smiling.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing today, Grace?
Doing great. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very splendid. Thank you for asking. So I see that your name is Grace, so we can skip the name part and just go about telling me the other 2 things. So go ahead, Grace. This one unique thing about you, and then an animal to describe yourself.
Okay, one unique thing about me is my ability to set goals and hit my goals. Like I am a goal getter.
You are a
Then
goal
one
getter.
animal
Okay.
I can use to describe.
Grace, do I still have you? I think I can no longer hear what you're saying. Is it just me or can anybody else hear Grace? Okay, there's a freeze. If anybody can hear Grace, please let me know because I can. Okay, Grace is
Myself is lion spirit.
Lion. Grace, I knew you were going to use that, and so automatically lion is not an animal you can use. I am so sorry, but I am also not sorry. So please pick another animal to describe yourself. Lion is not allowed. Lion, tiger, that's the common animal everybody's going to use. So automatically, I remove it from the equation. So Grace, go ahead.
Oh my
Another
God.
animal. Oh, your God. Yes, your God. Your God in heaven. Yes, your God.
Okay. One animal. Okay, I'll use a camel.
A camel. Why, Grace? Why? You have to explain why.
I picked camel because of my tenacity, my ability to survive no matter how hard the situation is.
I like that.
Like,
Your ability to survive no matter how hard the situation is. That's amazing. Okay. Thank you very much, Grace. I just saw a person in the chat box who said no. Oluwatosin Osinaya, you commented no. Nafisa also commented no. Can you please come up here and tell me what you mean by the no you put in the chat box?
No, it was when you were asking if we could still hear James.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
You asked if we could still hear James. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jason. So Grace, thank you very much for that introduction. The next person I'm picking is Ejiro Adu. Ejiro Adu. Do I have Ejiro Adu here? Ejiro Adu, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I'm going to call somebody else. Ejiro.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, great. Ejiro, go ahead. So I know your name already. Good morning, Ejiro. So you can go ahead and tell me the other 2 things. One unique thing about you and an animal to describe yourself.
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is already known. One unique thing about me is I like helping people. I like helping people.
Like to help, okay?
And helping people to meet their needs in one way or the other. Sometimes I do it to a fault, but that's one thing I enjoy doing. And which animal am I going to use? Let me say the horse. I'll use horse as one animal, even when we get exhausted.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
I say even when there are times that the horse get so tired and exhausted, still want to struggle and keep pushing on, and they even get to a part when they will start getting faint. He won't even notify the rider early and all that. So that's it.
A horse. Okay, so Adrian said it's a horse. Okay, the third person. I see this young lady looking very serious. Obiageli, you look extremely serious. Jesus, I heard you say it. Jesus, ha! You put on your face. Obiageli, I heard you shout Jesus. You are looking too serious. Let's liven up your mood, Obiageli. Please come off mute or mute your mic, and then answer my question.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay. I'm actually a very reserved person.
Okay.
And calm person. Let me just say I'm a quiet person. If I'm to use an animal to describe myself, I would say a dove.
A dove. Meek and humble, like a dove. Okay. Do you want to explain further, or you're satisfied?
Actually, why I chose a dove is by God's grace, I'm actually praying to have the attributes of a dove. I'm actually working towards it. As I said, I'm actually reserved and humble. So I actually love the characteristics of a dove, very calm, quiet, just there looking and stuff like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Obiageli. Thank you for taking a chance on us and speaking, even though you are very reserved. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. The last person. So I said I was going to pick 4. However, I would like to hear everybody. So everybody else, apart from the 4th person, please type yours in the chat box. I will be looking for it in the chat box. Everybody else, please type your responses in the chat box. So one unique thing about you and an animal to describe yourself. The first 3 people that spoke are exempted. The last person that's about to speak is also exempted. The rest of us, please go into the chat box and type. The last person who will be speaking is Taiwo Oluwafemi, I think. Yeah. Taiwo, you are closing your eyes. I hope you're still with us. Okay, Taiwo, go ahead. The rest of us, please go into the chat box and drop your comments. I will be looking for them. Taiwo, let's listen to you. Taiwo, I cannot hear you. I know you are speaking. We can see your lips moving, but we cannot hear you. Okay, that's better.
Yes. So one unique thing about me, I think it would be I think it would be the light I bring in when I come into any room. I mean, my close friends usually crack jokes around. If I was never in Nigeria, I would not have power issues because
you light up the place.
I do bring it. And if I'm to be an animal, I think the animal I would be a hummingbird.
A hummingbird, that's an amazing one.
Yeah.
Hummingbird.
Yes, the hummingbird. The hummingbird is a very, very smooth. It has a long beak that just goes around enjoying life. It signifies enjoyment of life. It signifies
you like to enjoy your life.
It signifies sweetness of life. I mean, and it also signifies freedom. So I mean that is my personality trait.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Taiwo. Now I am going to the chat box to read some of the comments that have been put there. So somebody, let me go start from the beginning. Okay. So I have Oluwa Rotimidada. You are resilient. Your animal are ants and bedbugs. Really, Rotimi, really ants and bedbugs. Okay. Oluwatosin Osinaya said, optimistic to a fault, an eagle describes me. Oluwashei, focused, and then an eagle. Everybody's speaking eagle. I should have removed eagle from the equation. I made a mistake. I should have removed eagle because it was common. Passionate and focused. So then I put my arts to the animal that describes is honeybee, a bee, honeybee. That's amazing. I like that. Ezekiel says chimpanzee. Ezekiel, I would like to hear why you chose chimpanzee. You're laughing. So please type in the chat box, Ezekiel, why did you choose chimpanzee? I would like to hear that, Ezekiel. Eagle, Kayode, Mustafa, and Ojiako Chidera says eagle also. Eagle for Adebimpe Olaide. Ogenetega said a turtle. That's amazing. Ogenetega, that's nice. Ahmed said impactful and coordinating. I've not seen the animal yet. Abila said a dove. Flexible and open to learning, a dove. Princess said, what anything about his positive attitude to life, regardless of whatever decision you may be in. Princess, you have not put the animal that describes you. This is what I'm looking for the most. Collins, compassionate. Okay, I'm not sure I can go through all the comments because the more I read, I see new ones and I'm looking like I'm losing time. Okay, so eagle, somebody chose lion. Faidat Badamosi, you chose lion. Lion was not an animal that was in the equation. So Faidat Badamosi, please re-choose the animal that best describes you because that animal, lion, has been removed from the equation. And while everybody types, I will still be waiting. The young man was supposed to tell me why he chose chimpanzee. I'm waiting. That's Ezekiel. Okay, chimpanzees are like project managers. They are immensely creative. That's amazing. That's an amazing thought, Ezekiel. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so thank you all for being a part of this introduction. So that it will not be a one-sided introduction, I will do the same introduction following the same parameters that I have given to you, not the parameters that I did that for you. My name is Jide King. Okay. Ifeb Dayo says, the neat thing about me is my leadership ability. I would like to stay a dog because I don't lead people from my head, but I also shield and care for them from behind. Now, that's amazing, Ifeb Dayo. Thank you. So my name is Jide King, and one unique thing about me is I can sleep for 48 hours non-stop. So if you leave me, I will sleep till I am tired, till sleep is tired of me, because I won't get tired of sleeping, the sleep will get tired of me overusing it. So that's me. One animal that I will use to describe myself, I will use a chameleon. Why a chameleon? A chameleon can blend in, a chameleon takes the shape of any of the shape and color of its environment. And so I am like that. Most of the time, I will blend into anywhere I find myself. If it is bubbly, I'll be bubbly. If it is boring, I'll be boring. If it is quiet, I'll be quiet. I feed up the energy around me, and that's why I would choose the chameleon. So thank you all for being a part of this introduction. Okay. Now, somebody said my animal should be a koala. Oh well. I like to sleep doesn't mean it's not my fault. Sleep just likes me. Let's put it like that. The sleep likes me more than I like it. But I am a chameleon. I will blend in anywhere. Okay, so today I have been asked to come on here and talk about emotional intelligence. And when I look at that module every single time, Olaide, I see you've used the raise hand icon. Please come off mute to speak, Olaide. Olaide, please come off mute to speak. Except that was a mistake. If it was not a mistake.
Sorry, sir, it's a mistake, sir.
Okay, you can drop it now. Awesome. So when I was given the topic emotional intelligence, when Dakpo reached out to me, I'm like, Dakpo, I am not sure. Tuesday is busy. Tuesday is not so free. I have appointment. I have other engagements. I said, let me think about it. I spent the entire weekend thinking about it. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's do it. And here I am. Why did I agree to do this? Why did I choose to do this? Why did I decide to talk about emotional intelligence? A lot of us here watch Big Brother, right? If you watch Big Brother, put in the chat box, yes. Put in the chat box, yes. Grace, I know you watch Big Brother. You're already smiling excitedly. So in the chat box, put yes if you watch Big Brother. I don't watch Big Brother. I watch it. I know about it against my will. Everybody in and around my circle have made me to know about that show against my will. So I don't watch it, but I know quite a lot about it thanks to the people I am friends with. So all of you that watch it is fine. There's no judgment here, no judgment. You are all entitled to your own decisions and what you do with your personal time. So please feel free to watch it. All of you that are saying your icons, you follow it on Twitter, watch it on WhatsApp status. Well, it counts because I also see it, WhatsApp status and Twitter. So, but on Saturday night, something interesting happened on Saturday night. And those of you that watch it, please, somebody said their icon. I would like a person who is an icon. Let me look for that person. Ezekiel Abiodun, an icon. Please come off it and explain what happened on Saturday that is very interesting. Something happened on Saturday night that is extremely interesting, and that is what I would like to start this conversation with. So Ezekiel Abiodun, please come off mute and explain what happened on Saturday night. You are still scratching your face. Go ahead, Ezekiel.
I don't even know where I now start.
No, please, not long story. Just make it very short.
All I noticed is yeah, I think Erica was just she wasn't really balanced like that. She has kept a lot of things, bottled a lot of things in her mind and in her heart, and she just exploded on Saturday. She couldn't like hold everything to herself anymore. She couldn't like bottle everything and just try and play the game the way she ought to play the game, and she exploded, and that was just it for her.
Okay. Thank you, Ezekiel.
She was actually taking all the things. She was just blaming the conference.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ezekiel, for that. Someone said Goddess was the catalyst. Oh well. There are many angles to the story. I from the videos I saw on social media, WhatsApp status, Twitter, Instagram, and the perception people had about it, and the various analogies and interpretations, this is what I understood. Akon had made a comment about Erica the previous week. Erica was unhappy about that comment, but did not confront Akon. She kept tiptoeing around the house. On Saturday, there was a party. She had a little bit too much to drink and exploded. There is school authority that believes that the anger was directed at Nengi. I know too much about this program for somebody who doesn't watch it. The anger was directed at Nengi, but somehow she could not face Nengi, so she faced Akon, and then she shouted and exploded. Of all the comments I saw about that show, there was one particular comment that stood out. Just one comment. The person said, Erica failed to manage how she felt. And the person went on to say that there are a lot of adults like Erica who are very poor when it comes to emotional intelligence. They are book smart, they are street smart, but they are not people smart. And that entire tweet got me thinking. And I began to look at the people around me. I began to look at the people I have trained over time. I began to look at the people I have been privileged to interact with. And I began to look at it from the perspective of what that person said when the person talked about people smart. And then on Sunday, this is amazing. My weekend was amazing, by the way. On Sunday, I was having a conversation with my cousin, and my cousin was talking about how there was a person in a company who was in the same position for about 6 years and was never promoted to a leadership position for 6 years. And what was the reason why this was not promoted to a leadership position? The leadership of the organization felt that if they promote this guy to leadership, the people he will lead will be forced to resign because he would not make a great leader. He had the right skills for the job, but he was not a people person. And if he was leading anybody, the people he is leading will be frustrated and they will resign if they don't make life difficult for him. And again, I was then thinking, I have been asked to facilitate a session on emotional intelligence. And people keep telling me all around that people are not emotionally intelligent. Is this a sign? Is this my God speaking to me that I should take this class? And so I know what, I reached out to Dakpo, I think on Wednesday. And I said, let's do this. Let's have this class. And so here we are. So let's start. What is emotion? Let me share my screen. I will share my screen, and then at some point I will put up the screen so that we can have a conversation. So I'm currently sharing my screen. When you can see my screen, put in the chat box, say you can see the screen. Once you can see the screen, put in the chat box, let me know that you can see the screen. Anybody, once you can see my screen, just drop in the chat box that you can see my screen. You can see my screen. You can see my screen. I'm waiting. Nobody can see my screen yet. Okay, I can see it. It's loading, visible. We can see. Awesome. Thank you all very much. I can see it. For those that are yet to see it, I'm pretty sure it's going to come up. It's just a matter of time. So I have been asked to talk about emotional intelligence. Trying to move on. My laptop is having some challenges. So Dakpo, if you can hear me, I would also like it to be on standby just in case my laptop screen does not.
I'm here.
Okay, so please be on standby. If I say please show your own screen, I will stop my screen sharing and just focus because my screen is trying to embarrass me today. It's fine. It's very fine. I can't find my cursor. Okay. Okay, so I'm talking about emotional intelligence. My screen is fine now. What is emotional intelligence? Before we go into the what and the how, let's talk about the learning objectives. At the end of this class, or rather for today's session, we will be talking about what are emotions. We're talking about what is emotional intelligence. We will talk about why emotional intelligence is important in the workplace. We will talk about why emotional intelligence, what are the components of emotional intelligence, what are the things that make up emotional intelligence. And then lastly, we'll talk about how to exhibit emotional intelligence in your places of work, in your various places of work. Because at the end of the day, this training, I believe, is for you to get these skills and apply them when you get into where you're going to be working. And so it is important that this happens for that process. You are learning this for the purpose of going to utilize it where you are going to work. And that's the last thing we're going to talk about. So before I go to the next slide, which has the answer to my first question, what are emotions? If you want to speak, please put your hand up use the raise hand icon, and I will be calling you to speak. What are emotions? Raise your hand and I will give you a chance to speak. Emotions are feelings, according to Genetega. Emotions are feelings. Emotions are feelings. Okay, Genetega, because you have typed that, please come off mute and explain more. Okay, Genetega, please come off mute and explain more when you say emotions are feelings.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Genetega. Your voice is very soothing. Are you lying down, if I may ask?
No, I'm a bit under the weather.
Sorry about that. Please go ahead.
Okay, so when I said emotions are your feelings, I believe emotions affect your behavior. So the way you act is based on how you feel. So that's just where I just based that from.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
The way you act is based on the way you feel. I like this. I've written it down because I like that. The way you act is based on the way you feel. Thank you. Anybody else? Before I speak, okay, I see two hands up. Taiwo, Oluwafemi, and Ezekiel. Taiwo, come off mute and speak. Let's hear you first.
Good morning once again.
Good morning.
So, my opinion, emotions are they are feelings, but they are really affected by two things, internal and external. So, for external, emotions can be derived from circumstances and relationship with others. For internal emotions can also be derived from mood. So, that is just my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Femi. Ezekiel, let's hear you.
Right. Thank you, sir. Yeah, from my own understanding, I think emotions are strong feelings that derived from relationship with others, our moods and circumstances around us. So I think those are the major driving force that determines our feelings, how we act, what we do. That's what I can say.
So emotions are feelings that are derived from our relationship with others and the circumstances around us. That's correct from what you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I like that. Derived from our relationship and the circumstances around us. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much for that, Ezekiel. So, Wikipedia says that I have to. Wikipedia says that emotions are biological states associated with the nervous system brought on by neurophysiological changes variously associated with thoughts, feelings, behavioral responses, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. There is currently no scientific consensus on the definition. Emotions are often intertwined with mood, temperament, personality, disposition, creativity, and motivation. So, Wikipedia is basically saying that the way you feel, your emotional state at a particular point in time is usually associated with your temperament, your personality, with your mood, with the way you feel, with your motivation, how displeased you are, how happy you are. So right now, we will use Ogenet Tega's synonym. Ogenet Tega said, emotions are feelings. Emotions are feelings. And so, right now, I would like every single person, I have 42 persons here, every single person to describe how they are feeling. So one word, how are you feeling? One word, how are you feeling? I'm going to also do the same and describe how I am feeling. Somebody's hungry. Ezekiel, hungry. Taiwo, hyped. Femi, cool. Mustafa, cool. Grace, good. Excited, cool, calm. Rotimi, Tosin, good. Ahmed, indifferent. Olaide, great. Abib, excited. Ramador, Princess, good. Energetic, indifferent. Hopeful, Ifedayo. Babatokwe, good. Optimistic. Okay. I am feeling excited. Okay. And there are so many feelings just pouring in. Mixed feelings from Gabriel. Happy, calm, curious. Awesome. Why was this question important? Why is it important that you know how you're feeling? I will come back there. Why is it important that you know how you are feeling? Can somebody answer in the chat box? Why is it important that you know how you're feeling? Anybody? In the chat box, please. Why is it important that you know how you're feeling? I'm waiting for a response. I'm guessing somebody is typing frantically right now to get a response to us. Okay, Nateka says to know your state of mind. Okay. Anybody else? To know your state of mind. One person from Tega. Anybody else? Why is it important to know how you're feeling? To be able to manage it from Amanda. It gives a sigh of relief when you let out how you feel from Ezekiel. That's amazing. Let's continue giving in. Why is it important to know how you're feeling? I'll take 2 more comments, then I'll move on. Christopher says, to be able to respond accordingly when dealing with others. Olaide said to control your feelings. Chidera Gertrude said, it determines how you interact with your environment. And that is correct. We all are correct. So these are examples of emotion. These are examples of feelings. There are feelings of anger. There are feelings of despair. There are feelings of fear. There are feelings of love, of happiness, of surprise, of disgust, of happiness, of annoyance, of affection. These are all examples of feelings. Abdurrahman said it is important to know how you feel because your feelings may affect how you respond to your environment. Your feelings may affect how you respond to your environment. And that is very correct. Let's print a scenario right here, right now. So let's use Abdurrahman, since it was your explanation, let's use Abdurrahman as the name of the person in the scenario. Abdurrahman is feeling quite hungry. Let's use that. Abdurrahman is feeling quite hungry. And as a result of that, Abdurrahman has tried to get something to eat. In the process of getting something to eat, Abdurrahman was unable to get food. Abdurrahman was unable to find something to eat. And so Abdurrahman is feeling quite tired, quite frustrated, quite annoyed because he's hungry and he can't find something to eat. And there's this very common saying that says, a hungry man is an angry man. So Abdurrahman is angry. Imagine if Abdurrahman, who is angry, is at his place of work and his employer comes to him and gives him a task. Or rather, a colleague comes to Abdurrahman and is trying to crack a joke with Abdurrahman. He's trying to be friendly and playful with Abdurrahman. How do you think Abdurrahman is most likely to respond? Anybody? How do you think Abdurrahman is most likely to respond? Anybody? Comments in the chat box. How do you think Abdurrahman is most likely to respond? Comments in the chat box. I would wait for a few minutes. Amanda said irritated. That's one word. I like that. Irritated. I'm waiting for more responses. We'll troop in any second. Irrational from Grace. Okay. Irrational, irritated, unwilling from Oluwatosin, angrily, harshly, infuriated, aggressively. Okay, these are all words that explain how Abdurrahman is most likely to respond to that comment, to that joke, to that play. Because at that point in time, Abdurrahman is not in the mood. He's upset, he's angry, he's hungry. And so anything that is looking like not a solution to his current predicament or his current state of mind will only further infuriate him and get him upset. And that is what we find out, that is the case we find ourselves in more often than not. Now, what is emotional intelligence? This is just understanding emotions. We are basically just taking the time to understand emotions. And so what is emotional intelligence? What is emotional intelligence? I don't want to go to the next slide because the next slide already has the answer, but I would like somebody to raise their hand and give it a shot. I would like somebody to try and answer the question about emotional intelligence. So use the raise hand icon if you'd like to answer. Abila, first hand I see. Abila, please come off mute and speak. Abila, please come off mute and speak.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I can hear you, Abila.
Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand and manage your emotions and those of the people around you. And it can also be put this way. It is a term that is used to describe the various competencies that are essential for building, developing, and managing relationships. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Abila. Dapo, I have a question for you. Have these slides been shared with the participants before now?
No.
Okay, all right, thank you. Felt like Abila was reading my slides, so I needed to be sure. Thank you very much for that explanation, Abila. It was very, very, very useful. I'm going to take a second. Ability to understand the feelings of others, as well as yours, in order to have a peaceful environment and a long-lasting relationship. Oluwatosin said, understanding your emotions and the emotions of other people. Okay, that's amazing. So, emotional intelligence, I will put it this way. What is intelligence and what is emotion? Emotions are the way we feel. Emotions are the way we are feeling at a particular time. Intelligence talks about, what's it called? Book smart. Being the difference between EQ and IQ. Let's take a step back and understand that. What is IQ? IQ is about your intelligence quotient, your ability or the measurement of your intelligence, your ability to understand numerical principles, your ability to understand mathematics, your ability to understand logical and factual reasoning, your ability to create logical sequential explanations to things. The ability to go from point A to point B. Now, a lot of human beings are very intelligent. They have very high intelligence quotient. So they are smart in the fact that, in the sense that they are book smart. They have the ability to look at the situation holistically, analyze that situation, and come up with a solution. They have the ability to look at a room and do spatial dimensions, spatial measurements, and understand the amount of space in that room. So this is intelligence quotient. What is emotional intelligence or emotional quotient? Emotional quotient then talks about that same individual's ability to recognize that the way people feel and the way I feel does not necessarily report or align with logic, does not align with logical reasoning. Emotional intelligence is an individual's ability to recognize that the brain, which is the seat of logic, and the heart, which is the seat of emotion, have to work together so that as a human being, you are functioning to optimum capacity. So, as the slide likely puts, emotional intelligence is the ability, capacity, or skill to control, okay, I would like to add a word, to understand your emotions and then to control those emotions for the benefit of yourself and the people around you. To understand your emotions and then control those emotions for the benefit of yourself and the people around you. And so basically I'm saying that a person who is emotionally intelligent is a person who recognizes that at this point in time, I am angry. At this point in time, I am upset. At this point in time, I am not in the mood. And so how do I then control this feeling that I am having so that when Abila comes to me and wants to crack a joke, I am not using the way I feel to disrupt Abila's mood and then create chaos. It is understanding that the way I feel is not Abila's fault. And as a result, I should not transfer my aggression onto Abila. It is recognizing that if I shout at Abila, my boss might hear it, get upset, and I may be sanctioned. It is recognizing that your emotions need to be put in check so that you are able to have productive relationships. So what is emotional intelligence? It is the ability to intentionally make your emotions work for you by using those emotions to guide your behavior and thinking in ways that enhances your results. Making sense? If I'm making sense, please drop in the chat box making sense so that I know if I'm continuing or stopping or reversing. Brain to heart connection. Thank you very much for what to say. It is a brain to heart connection. Recognizing that the brain, seat of knowledge, seat of reasoning, seat of logical reasoning, the heart, seat of emotion. There has to be a connection between the two of them for you to progress in life, for you to go far in life. A lot of people are pure brain, very little heart. And what happens is those people, they are very brilliant and they produce great results, but they are not people persons. They do not know how to work with the people around them. They do not know how to relate with other people, and they end up hurting the people in their office, the people they work with. Whereas there are some people, all hearts, very little brain. Now, these people, at the end of the day, they don't get the job done. What they do is they know how to manage relationships, they know how to manage people, and at the end of the day, because they know how to manage people, they still get the job done. Let me paint a scenario for you. So let me put up my screen so I can have access to seeing everybody's face. We'll come back to that. Okay. I wanted to paint a scenario for all of us. If you are still with me, just wave at me through your camera. If you can still hear me, just wave. Okay. Fabiageli, you look bored. Are you bored?
No, sir, I'm not.
I just wanted to confirm that you're not bored. Okay, awesome. Thank you all for waving at me. I'm excited to see that. Okay, so let's do this scenario. Let's do this. Very interesting session, very interesting scenario. There are two persons. Let's call the person A. Obiageli, I like your name, so I'm going to be using your name. Person A is Obiageli. Person B is Ezekiel Abiodun, who somebody is peeping through his screen. Ezekiel Abiodun is person B. Person A is Obiageli. So, Obiageli is newly employed into an organization. She has in this scenario, she graduated with a second-class degree lower from our university. Ezekiel graduated with a first class from his university. And they were both employed because the organization basically wanted to give them a chance. So 3 months probationary period, let's see what it is you can do, and let's decide who we get to keep. There's only one position, but they employed the two of them. 3 months probation. After the end of the 3 months, one person will be retained, one person will be let go of. Obiageli, because she has a second-class degree from the university, what happens a lot of the time? While she was in the university, why did she get a second-class degree? Let's backtrack a bit. Why does she have a second-class degree from the university? Because in the university, she would spend some time in her room gisting with her roommates. She would spend some time in the fellowship gisting with her church members. And then she would spend very little time reading her book. But she reads her book, just not enough time reading her book. Ezekiel, on the other hand, is reading his book every single minute of every single day. And as a result, he has very little time mingling with people. He has very few friends, very few social relationships, but it was just book, very focused on his book. At the end of the day, they are both now working together in the same organization. They both, when it comes to the job that they are both been employed for, they are both novice in the sense that it is not their area of strength, it is not their area of expertise, it is a new field to both of them. So they are just getting to this organization newly. They have never worked in this position before. As a matter of fact, everything they learned back in the university does not prepare them for the job they are doing. It is a completely new field to them. And so Ezekiel, in his usual manner, would go close from work, would go home, and begin to research about the job, begin to read about the job, begin to read about the job. Obiageli would go home and she would make a few calls to her friends, try to get information from friends, from people who have done the job. And also she's also doing her own research in her own way. And then at the end of the 3 months, the company's HR manager began to take feedback from people who they have worked with. And the man asked only one question. When you need help with this task, who are you most likely to go to? And everybody kept saying Obiageli. Everybody kept saying Obiageli. Everybody kept saying Obiageli. And the man was confused. Because when you look at the productivity sheet of both of them, Ezekiel was producing more results. Obiageli was producing results, but not as much as Ezekiel. So Ezekiel was bringing in more results, was producing more, was doing better than Obiageli was doing. But every single person, when it comes to requesting for assistance regarding to that work, they preferred to go to Obiageli. And after a while, after the man had asked the 10th person, and the 10th person had still said Obiageli, the man said, you know what? Why? Why would you rather go to Obiageli than Ezekiel? Is it that Ezekiel will not help you? They said, no, Ezekiel will help you. Ezekiel will be very helpful. It's matter of fact, he will help you more than Obiageli will help you. You know, before Ezekiel helps you, he will probably yab you. He will probably make you feel like you don't have sense. He will probably make you feel like you're an olodo. So at the end of the day, going to Ezekiel, I know I will get the help I need, but I will feel demotivated and demoralized by the time I finish getting that help. Now, with Obiageli, she may not have the answer. As a matter of fact, she doesn't always have the answer. But because of the way she speaks to me, both of us can sit down and talk to each other and think about the situation, and we'll come up with the answer. And the man said, now I see. And then the man was confused. He was trying to decide between the young man, Ezekiel, who does the job, but people feel demotivated when they go to him, and the young lady Obiageli, who does the job but not as much or not as well, but people feel empowered when they go to her. Who do you think this man should pick? Comments in the chat box quickly. Who should the man pick? Very quickly. Who should be picked by this man? Tricky question, Oluwatosin. Oluwatosin, please come off mute and explain what you mean by tricky question. Oluwatosin, why is it tricky? Please come off mute, Oluwatosin.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Very
it's tricky because most organizations look at results. Because people are result-oriented. They want to see what can you bring to the table. So now looking at Obiageli, that is equally good, but not as good as Ezekiel now. But she's people smart. No, it's very tricky. It's tricky. Now, if I employ Ezekiel, he will get the job done, but there may not be so much joy in the workplace. Okay. And at times, a bossy person might say, "Who cares about joy? I need my job to be done." Absolutely. And on the other hand, people can say, "Obiageli, she's good, and she will make every other person happy." So I think it's tricky. It depends on the boss. But for me,
who would you pick? You're the boss. No, you will pick Obiageli.
Obiageli because of peace in the workplace.
Thank you. I see a comment from Tega. It says nobody loves being treated. Oh, I have to look for that comment. Just got missing. Nobody loves being treated as a dollar despite not having the knowledge. Obiageli brings the team in teamwork. Okay, thank you. Two people, Amanda and Grace, said it depends on the organization or the goals of the organization. Okay. I will. Abila has given Obiageli a nickname. He said, Abila. He said, Obi, but I will consider Ezekiel because he can acquire a skill like we are doing here. Prince said, it depends on the employer. Are you looking for just productivity or employee satisfaction? I would choose Obiageli. And a lot of us are saying we will pick Obiageli. Ezekiel, who would you pick? Come off mute and speak. Gabriel, I see your hand. If it's a mistake, put it down. If it's not a mistake, I'll come to you shortly. Ezekiel, who would you pick?
I didn't
hear you.
I think I will pick Obiageli.
You pick Obiageli? Okay. Obiageli, who would you pick?
I'll pick Obiageli. I'll pick her.
Okay. Thank you, Ezekiel. Obiageli, who would you pick?
I'll pick Obiageli.
Obiageli, you pick Obiageli. Okay, that's interesting. I'm just teasing. Gabriel, you raised your hand. If it is a mistake, please put it down. If it is a comment you have, please come off mute and speak.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Judy.
Thank you very much.
I think it's quite a fix. I mean, it's quite a dilemma.
Okay.
So because to be honest, like everyone has rightly said, it depends on the organization. Okay, as a boss, if you feel okay, the energy, the pizzazz that Obiageli is bringing to the organization matters more to the results, tangible results, quick results the other person is bringing, then fine, you can return Obiageli. Whilst you arrange a training for her to become better at presenting results. Likewise, if you think quick results is what you want, then you can leave off Obiageli and keep the other person, and then arrange for a training to inculcate or to imbibe people's skills into in a limited time. Because he's a bright person, you actually want to bank on him picking up fast, and it all depends really. So just like everyone has rightly said, that's my own opinion.
Who would you pick, Gabriel? I would still put you on the spot. Who would you pick?
If you wouldn't on the face.
I didn't hear you.
I say if Gabriel, you wouldn't mind, permit me to sit on the fence.
No, there's no fence in my class. I don't know where the fence is, so you can't sit there. Okay. You have to fall somewhere.
Okay. Like I've said, like if you're following me closely, sir.
I have been following you closely. You have only one slot. Gabriel, please listen to me. You have one slot. Right. You can only employ one person. You are the managing director, MD CEO, chief recruiting officer. Pick somebody, Gabriel.
Okay. I think to be honest, it depends. If for
Gabriel, I have given you all the dependents you want to take. It depends on many things. You are now MD CEO. Pick one person.
Okay. Okay, please permit me to be elaborate. For instance, if my organization needs quick results right now.
Gabriel, may I stop you?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I am stopping you because you've explained.
Yes.
And you've explained elaborately, as elaborate as possible. But right now, I need you to make a decision. You cannot be on the fence, Gabriel. I need you to make a decision. I understand your point about which is most important to the organization. So you are the owner of the organization right now, which is most important to you. And then you, knowing what is most important to you, pick.
I'll pick Obiageli because I think she's people smart. She can at the same time be trained to you know get things done quickly and
Thank you very much, Gabriel. Thank you very much, Gabriel. I see somebody who's talking about Collins. You talk about Maslow's theory. Please come up with and explain Maslow's theory. Maybe I'm not understanding the same Maslow's theory. Collins, Richard.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir. Sorry. Don't mind me. Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear, Collins.
Yes, sir. Actually, the Maslow's theory I'm talking about is just something that falls within needs. According to the ranking of needs, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about, sir. Okay. According to, because I was trying to pair Obiageli and Mr. Ezekiel together, sir. I think for in a favorable to work in a kind of a conducive environment, everybody needs one of the needs are very important is social needs. So everybody needs people who will be able to, who is relatable, they can relate to, so to make the work and the activities of the organization move, smooth. So I think Obiageli is actually the right person, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Colin. I would throw a spanner in the wheel. You are working remotely. You have there's no opportunity for you to meet anybody. All your work is remote work. So you don't have a physical office. Spanner in the wheel. No physical office. All the work you are doing is from your own house. However, you still have periodic meetings with your colleagues. You still have periodic checking with your colleagues, but you do not have an office where you go to. Now, same scenario, the only difference is it is remote work. Who will you pick, Ezekiel or Obiageli? Grace, this is a scam response, Grace. As a CEO, I want Ezekiel with a touch of Obiageli. Grace, that is not allowed. You can only pick one. So please, Grace, type a response. Grace James, this is 419 response. But yes, I have just tweaked the scenario. You are working remotely. You do not have a physical office.
Ezekiel,
Who would you pick? Gabriel said Ezekiel. Okay. Taiwo, you're raising your hand. Who would you pick, Taiwo?
I'll pick Ezekiel.
You pick Ezekiel. Okay. Yeah. Is there anybody who will pick Obiageli knowing that you would not be in a physical office? If you pick Obiageli, please come off mute and explain why. If you would pick Obiageli, please come off mute and explain why.
Okay, Collins. Hey, Jerome.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll pick Obiageli.
Because?
I feel even working remotely, that doesn't take out the need of relating with people. As you said earlier, there might be need for meeting, need for you to get one or two info from your colleagues and all that. There must be interaction in one way or the other. So I still feel that people relationships key is still needful, even if it is remote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ejiro. Chiamaka AK, I am yet to see a comment or hear your voice. I'd like to hear your voice. Chiamaka, please type or come off mute and speak. Who would you speak? Who would you choose? If you are typing, go ahead. If you are speaking, we cannot hear you. You are put on your camera, but we are not hearing you say anything. So I'm going to believe you are typing. I'm waiting for a comment from you, Chiamaka. Still Obiageli. Collins is still saying Obiageli. Abdurrahman says Obiageli. Human learning is still that even without a physical office. Chiamaka says Obiageli. Okay. Thank you all very much for indulging me. I'll tell you a story. I am not exactly sure of the year. I need to double check. There was a year, I think it was 2018 or 2019. It was not this year, 2018 or 2019. I'm not extremely sure of the exact year. But in that year, A tech company released a report. I can't remember the tech company. I think it was Google or Microsoft. I'm not 100% sure. I need to Google that. That, but if you can, while I'm speaking, can just help me Google it. Whether it was Google or Microsoft that released most important skills needed for the workplace. 2018, 2017, 2019. That please help me if you can. But a tech company. Now, a tech company is a company that does technology. They are coding. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I didn't get what you said now.
Okay, so please help me quickly Google which company, whether it was Google or Microsoft, that released the most important skills for the 21st century in 2018 or 2017. I can't remember the year it was released. But it was a tech company. Thank you. Now, this company released most important skills needed for the 21st century. You would expect that they are a technological company, and so they don't consider certain things as important. But guess what? Among the top 10 skills was emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence was among the top 10 skills that this company released. Why was it among the top 10 skills? When they were asked, one of the reports was that coding is easy to teach. They can organize a 2 weeks or a 4 weeks boot camp and immerse you with coding. You will learn the highest degree or the highest amount of coding that you can learn in a very short period of time, and it's cheap. However, to teach you people skills, to teach you emotional intelligence is a lot more difficult, is a lot more expensive. Because at the end of the day, you go through trainings, you will get a personal coach, you get a life coach, and before you know it, they are churning millions upon millions upon millions of dollars trying to teach you a skill that will be very, very useful if you have learned it by yourself before now. So let me say that again. Emotional intelligence is difficult to teach only because it is a lifelong process. There are people who, with all the emotional intelligence that they have learned, when they see somebody else, they're like, I am aspiring to become that person. Even though somebody else will say, I'm aspiring to become them. So it is a process, it is a learning that never ends. It is a learning that is never completed. It is a learning that goes on and on and on over the period of your lifetime. And so, no matter how much you have learned about it, the more you continue to learn about it, the more you realize that the knowledge you have is not enough. And so that scenario, as interesting as it is, as dicey as it is, I would tell you for a fact, a lot of organizations want somebody like Ezekiel, but with a touch of Obiageli. And what most people do, and where they miss it, is they employ Ezekiel and they try to coach him to become Obiageli. At the end of the day, what they end up doing is they end up getting it wrong. And 6 months down the line, or 1 year down the line, they have lost certain employees because of Ezekiel's people relation. At the end of the day, either they fire Ezekiel, and they fire Ezekiel not because he's not good. And this is the funny thing. They will tell you that they are firing him because he is not a culture fit. Now, they do not say he's not emotional, he's not intelligent. They will say he's not a culture fit. What is a culture fit? Culture fit means his behavior, his attitude, his way of working does not fit into the culture of our organization. So our organization has a certain culture that we expect. However, Ezekiel's culture and Ezekiel's way of working is not in our culture. And so they employ Ezekiel, hoping that Ezekiel will become Obiageli over a period of time, not knowing that Obiageli used over 26 years of her life to become Obiageli, and Ezekiel used 27 or 26 years of his life to become Ezekiel. And then you expect 3 months that Ezekiel becomes Obiageli. So quick results, but very impossible to achieve. So at the end of the day, what happens is they now go back, they want to looking for somebody else who has the same characteristics as Obiageli, because in the very beginning, they missed it. So yes, Gabriel, you were right in your analogy when you talked about what matters to the organization. But what HR professionals are doing right now is that they are saying minus the fact that you are great for the job, you also have to be a culture fit. A culture fit. And that is where a lot of people do not get it. You have to be both intelligent with book and also be able to manage relationships and manage people. For like this, that's what you want to say. I've come off mute. If that was a mistake, please unmute your microphone. Thank you. So at this junction, I would pause and I would take comments or questions. If you have, Gabriel, you have raised your hand again. Okay, I think most active trainee today will be Gabriel. Gabriel, please go ahead. Since you've raised your hand, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Gabriel, before you continue,
right.
Anybody else who has a comment or a question, please type it in the chat box while Gabriel speaks. Gabriel, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity once again to speak. I was just going to say you were absolutely right. You were absolutely right. That was why it was quite difficult for me to actually make a decision. I remember back, was it sometime last year? I got called to an interview with TSL for the new role of the logistics coordinator. So apparently, because I was tensed, it's kind of impaired the proceedings of the interview session. So at some point, so the two panel was going to interview. So one of them was going to point out that I was doing well so far, as a matter of fact. So, but then it's just that they actually really need someone that is really, really vibrant, really that is really outgoing and all of that, and they could not really pick it for me. I was not able to express that. I was not able, because I think I was quite tensed. So I actually learned a great deal. So it just was, from what you have explained right now, it was called jogging my memory back to then. And I realized that was probably why I didn't get a job, because they felt I won't be able to, I won't be vibrant for the organization. I'll just be, yeah, that kind of thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gabriel, for sharing. I see your hand, Grace. If it's a mistake, please drop it. If it is not a mistake, I will give you a chance to speak shortly. But let me just comment on what Grace said, or what Gabriel said. I'll give you a trick. I have been an interviewer interviewing a candidate for a role, and this young man, I will tell you for a fact, from the beginning of the interview session to the end of the interview session, he did not answer any question correctly. No single question was correct. All the questions I asked him, he answered them very, very wrongly. But guess what? I was confused. I knew it was wrong, but I was now confused whether, was it the one I was wrong or was I the one I was wrong? Because at the end of the day, I was now confused that I know the answer to this question. I know the answer I'm expecting to this question. But this young man is confident and bold and smiling and telling me, Aaron, first class rubbish. But I am now confused that, okay, wait, maybe it's correct. So I was beginning to second guess my own knowledge simply because of his own confidence. At the end of the day, lucky for my company, I was not the one that was disturbed in the interview. Somebody else was there, and the person was like, "Come on, no, this guy is bamboozling us." So we both ended up not employing that guy, but we spoke to him and we said, "See, young man, you have very great personality, very great confidence level, very great speaking ability. However, you need to also work on your own intelligence and speaking intelligently. So currently, you speak with confidence. What is missing is adding intelligence into that confidence." We were going to take him. However, it was obvious that if we take him, he didn't know anything, nothing. So if we are taking him with his nothing, we'll suffer a great deal. And so we realized that it was important that we make a switch, correct him, tell him to go do the necessary thing he needs to do, and come back if he has finished the training and if he feels he's now prepared, and we'll definitely take him, no interviews needed. But just to your point, Gabriel, sometimes in the interview session, the way you speak, the way you portray yourself can go a long way to determine if the employer or the interviewer will remember or would consider you as worthy for the role. Because apart from your intelligence, there are other things that they're looking for that is required for the role. And those things that they don't usually advertise those things. That's the point. They don't usually advertise those things. They just tell you that you are looking for somebody with great communication skills, somebody with but they don't tell you what the subtle things that, they don't tell you the small things that they use to analyze the communication skills. They don't tell you that they are looking for how you smile. They don't tell you that they're looking for how you pronounce your words. They don't tell you that they're looking for how you use examples to explain your answers. They don't tell you all about those things. They just expect that when you are speaking, all of all those things will exhibit itself and you will catch it from where you're saying, and then they'll now use it to make a judgment about your intelligence, about your character, about your personality, and all of those things. So that's a trick that is different from the class I'm supposed to be taking. Taiwo, you've raised your hand. If you have a comment, please drop it in the chat box while we continue. Taiwo, if you have a comment, please drop it in the chat box. If it's a mistake, please drop the hand as we continue. So I'm going to be sharing back. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. I'm going to pause that and just give that scenario. And I'm glad that we've all been a part of it so far. If you're enjoying it and you hope and look forward to be more like the Abigail in our scenario, not Obiageli, the Obiageli in our scenario, please just go in the chat box and type Obiageli for the win. Obiageli for the win. Just type that in the chat box. Obiageli for the win. Let's do that quickly. Obiageli for the win. And let's know how many of us are aspiring to become Obiageli in the future. Okay, great. Obiageli for the win. Yeah. Okay, if you are raising your hand, Taiwo and Gabriel. Gabriel, because you have spoken so much, I would like you to drop a comment in the chat box, Gabriel. Taiwo, come up and speak. Gabriel, because you have spoken so much, I'd like you to drop a comment in the chat box. Taiwo, please come up and speak. 30 seconds, Taiwo.
Yes, I was trying to start my question. So we've been in this training since last week, and I'm just trying to connect a whole lot of dots. Last week, we were mainly focused on thoughts, how to manage your thoughts, how your thoughts affect you emotionally. So I just want to, it might not be very relating, but putting thoughts and feelings together, which do you think is most important to master to be emotionally intelligent?
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Taiwo. Lucky for you, it is very, very in line with where we are going into now. We are going into components of emotional intelligence, and one of the components really, really addresses that question you just raised. So no problem, Taiwo, we are going to get there. Okay, Metega, you've raised your hand. Before I give you a chance to speak, Gabriel, I see your comment. I did not address the plot twist. I think I addressed it, but without explicitly saying that this is the answer to it. The answer still remains, I would 100% encourage you to pick Obiageli. Because whether you are working remotely or you are working in the office, the fact remains that you will interact with your colleagues. Either you are sending an email, or you are sending a phone call, or you are sending a written communication, a WhatsApp message, or whatever, you will still interact with your colleagues. And here's the beautiful thing, here's what people don't know. I'll give you an example from my own office. There's this colleague of mine, whenever she sends an email, people get angry. Whenever she sends an email. And she'll be like, why are people angry? And then I called her one day and I'm like, come, let's look at this thing from the perspective of the person that's getting angry. In your own opinion, in your own mind, you didn't do anything wrong. The email was great. But I look at this from the perspective of the person that's getting angry. And then I said, look at this sentence here. You wrote this sentence. Now, one interpretation is the interpretation that you have given to it. Another interpretation that I have, that the person could have given to it, is the fact that you are saying the person is stupid. But you did not imply that, you did not mean that, but the construction of your sentence passes across that message to the person. And so, even though you did not see that you are saying the person is stupid, the construction of your sentence has indicated that the person is stupid. Then she was not trying to be defensive, like, no, it's feedback. In feedback, you don't get defensive. Listen with an open mind and see room for improvement. And at the end of the day, that was all I said. And I'm like, think about it. And then there's this new tool called Grammarly. Grammarly has a tool that allows you to check the emotion of your written communication. And so when you type a message using Grammarly, it can tell you if it is formal, if it is playful, if it is rude, if it is offensive, and then you can check the words that you are using to be sure that you are saying it the right way. Okay, Netega, you raised your hand. Please come up and speak. Let's give you a chance to speak very quickly. Okay, Netega, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I typed in 2 questions on the comment section, so okay, I just want to still
repeat them
say it out
because I'm sure they are missing.
That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Yes. So I want to ask, what does one do if you find yourself in an environment where they don't encourage relationship between one another, and they just want, okay, it's work, 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 and when they don't see you doing work and you're just, then they'll be like, this one is just wasting our time and resources. So what does one do if you find yourself in that type of situation?
Okay.
Then
The second question.
the second question is this. Now, for instance, you're paired with a senior colleague, you're given a project that has a week deadline. What do you do when the person does not support you or assist you? Definitely, you've been put under the person, okay, so that when you have an issue, you just run up to him and then he assists you since you're maybe a novice in that field. So what do? You have your deadline fast approaching, the person is not assisting you, and you still have to deliver. So what does that person do at that point in time? Those are the questions I want to ask.
I will repeat them so I'm sure I got them. The first question was, how do you survive in an environment where they don't encourage interpersonal relationship? They are all about productivity. However, you also recognize that they are human beings, and then relationship has to exist, and so those relationships are important. So how do you survive in that kind of an environment where the focus for the organization is productivity, 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 no relationship whatsoever? However, when you try to build a relationship, you are considered as unserious. That's the first question. Exactly. Your second question is, how do you manage relationship with your boss when the person that is supposed to be your guide or offer you guidance?
Sorry, let me reiterate. Sorry, you have a team lead, okay, but you are like a novice on the job, and you have been assigned to somebody that is a little bit senior than you in the place of work, and then you're the one in charge of the project, and you have a deadline, and you need assistance from the person you're partnered with. So how do you go about it? The person you're partnered with is not assisting you at all, and then you still have to deliver.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would not claim all the answers, so I will share my opinion on the two questions you have asked, and then I would invite other members of this class to share opinions that they have, because I believe that all 42 of us, we've had experience with work, with life, and so we can all share to make the learning experience more holistic. So I will answer your two questions. Abdul Rahman, I see your question. I will come to it after I answer Organizer's question. So Organizer, your first question. Let me start with your second question, first of all. A lot of people consider it as stress when they have to teach somebody something from scratch. I will say that again. I am your boss, and you have just been employed. I have been put in my department. I consider it extremely stressful to take out time from my own productivity, from my own task, to start teaching you or to start offering you advice or to start helping you. Because I also have my own task and deadlines. Your task and deadlines are yours, but mine are mine. And so if I have to pause everything I am doing to assist you, it means that I have to miss my own deadlines to help you get your own deadlines. I don't know if that makes sense to you. So that's one way a lot of people look at it. Another way a lot of people look at it is, you yourself, you are unserious. Why do I say that? So I will flip this particular answer in a different way. Imagine somebody comes to you and says they want money, and you give them money. The next day they come to you and they say they want money, you give them money. If you continue giving them money every single day, they will never recognize that they have to go and work for money, right? And so how do I advise you that you approach such a situation? Before you go to this person for help, for advice, for guidance, do some preliminary work. So what do I mean by preliminary work? If your task has been given and the task is write a report on consumer production, consumer relations rules and regulations in Nigeria, and you are stuck. As stuck as you are, do some preliminary research, read about it, write about it, have something that you are going to the person with and say, sir, I'd like to schedule a meeting with you for tomorrow to discuss this task. I have done this. However, I am a little bit unsure about how I have gone about it. I would like some input. That way, the person knows that you scheduled the meeting, which means you are serious. You have an agenda, which means it won't be a waste of my time. You have done some work, which means only coming to me for advice and not me for work. What a lot of young employees do at the end of the day is they say, sir, I would like to see you. Sir, I would like to see you. Sir, I need your help. And then I'm thinking, I don't have help to offer you. I don't have anything to give to you because in my mind, you have not done anything. You may have done something, but you are failing to communicate what you have done to me. And as a result of that, I do not want to assist you. I do not want to help you because I think you're serious and I have things on my plate that I want to finish with. I hope that makes sense. Then to your first question around the environment. When you get into a new workplace environment, you have to recognize, and I'm going to use this to also answer the question about culture from somebody asked a question about culture. I can't remember the person's name. But I'm going to try and merge the two questions together. The person's question was around how do you recognize the culture of an environment, even though you can't see it on social media or you can't see it when you're doing your preliminary research. How do you recognize the culture and how do you fit in? When you get into an environment, when you get into an office environment, your first 90 days are critical. Your first 90 days are crucial. How are they crucial? They are crucial because you don't know anything. You have not been biased. You have not been brainwashed by all the negativities, for lack of a better word, all the negativities in that organization. You have not come to the point where you believe that you are a part of them, and so the way this is how we do it. You have fresh ideas, fresh opinions, fresh everything. And so when you get to your first 90 days, a lot of organizations will ask you for a review of them. Some don't, some do. But the reason why they do that is because in that 90 days, you are supposed to be understanding their culture, understanding the environment, understanding how they do things there to see if it is something that you as a person can cope with, to see if it's something that you can cope with. And so you are in that organization, you are in there, you are studying it. Now, when you see that the culture in that place is all about productivity, there is no room for jokes, there is no room for play, there is no room for any of the things that you want to do or that you are used to doing. You now have to ask yourself two questions. Question one, can I blend in and tweak my own work styles to mix with their own work style? If the answer to that question is yes, then you know that, okay, I will be productive. And then during my lunch breaks, during my break time, when it is my time, I can go into the kitchen or out of the office and make a call and gist with my friends and get my own energy back. And then if your answer is no, you have to then begin to think about, is this the best place for me? I recognize that because of the job situation in Nigeria, it's not something I would like to hear. Nobody likes to hear that, I have to leave a job I just got. But the truth is, if that job is not satisfying all your own needs, then maybe you should be reconsidering staying on that job or reconsidering how you tweak that job to meet your own needs. The other question around how do you find out about the company's culture, even though you can't find it on social media and everywhere you search for it, you can ask at the interview. I believe that every interview you go for, they are interviewing you for the job, you are interviewing them if you like their company. And so at the end of the interview, a lot of times they'll ask you, do you have any questions for us? Or if you don't ask, you and also, please, I have a question for you. And you can ask them, sir, I would like to know what's the culture of your environment? What's the culture of your organization like? I'd like to know what kind of culture do you guys operate? Is it a laid back culture? Is it an uptight culture? And I'm asking because I have a personal culture and I'd like to know if there's a cultural alignment between your organization and between my own personality. And that kind of, in that way, you find out about it at the interview sessions instantly. I hope that answers all the questions that you've asked. So I will move on. If it answers, please just drop a comment in the chat that says good to go. And if it doesn't answer, let's know, and then we can give somebody else a chance to talk. So emotional intelligence in the workplace. I believe we've talked about this. I believe we've talked about this. Okay, don't do the comments, but I will just recap it. Emotional intelligence in the workplace. Every single thing we just talked about in terms of Ogenetega and Ezekiel, in terms of answering the two questions of Ogenetega just asked. Sorry, in terms of Obiageli and Ezekiel, and answering Ogenetega's questions was related and directed to talking about emotional intelligence in the workplace. There are 4 things that you need to be aware of when talking about emotional intelligence in the workplace. If you are emotional intelligence in the workplace, It helps you to motivate and inspire work by understanding the motivation of others. It brings more individuals to the table to avoid pitfalls in the groups and allows for more group thinking, teamwork, etc. It empowers the leader or the team members to recognize and act on opportunities that others may be unaware of. It assists in the recognition and resolution of conflict in a fair and even-handed way. You are able to recognize that something is about to go wrong and you're able to address it instantaneously. And then lastly, it can produce higher morale and assist others in tapping their full professional potential. And so in your place of work, these are some reasons why, apart from all the other ones that I have talked about in terms of allowing for group work together, allowing for efficiency in the productivity, allowing for efficient teamwork opportunities, allowing for better relations with your colleagues and with your friends. These are additional reasons why emotional intelligence is important in your place of work. So there are components of emotional intelligence. There are 5 components of emotional intelligence. 5 components of emotional intelligence. The first 3 of them are about you, the person who is trying to develop emotional intelligence. The last 2 are about other people, your relationship with other people. How do you build a strong relationship with other people so that you are able to relate better with them? So that you're able to relate better with them. And so the first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness. What is self-awareness? Okay, Netega, your hand is still up. I know you have answered your question. Can you please put it down? Because it's kind of distracting me every time I see your hand up. Thank you, Tega. So what is self-awareness? Self-awareness is, I think it's self-explanatory. So I will not go ahead to explain it. I would ask that somebody, Amanda Richards, please come off mute and explain to me what you understand by self-awareness, even though the answer is right in front of us. But Amanda Richards, please come off mute and explain to us what you understand by self-awareness.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Amanda.
Okay, good morning, sir. Self-awareness basically understanding how you feel, knowing your strengths, knowing your weakness, knowing your limits, knowing how far you can go, knowing how far they can stretch you.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Self-awareness, kind of like Aristotle or Plato that made the comment, man, know thyself. Please help me in the chat box. Who made that comment? Man, know thyself. Like Amanda rightly said, it is knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, knowing how far you can be stretched, knowing how far you can go, knowing your limitations, knowing your areas of growth, knowing your triggers, the things that easily upset you, the things that easily annoy you. Thank you, Oluwafemi or Aristotle. The things that easily make you switch from a particular mood to a particular mood. A lot of people have mood swings and they always say that they don't know what caused that mood swing. Okay, so Femi said Aristotle, Ejiro said Socrates. Socrates, okay, so Ejiro is the person that's correct, Socrates. Socrates is the person that made the comment, man, know thyself. Thank you, Ejiro. Aristotle, Femi, we are both wrong. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So a lot of people say that they don't know what causes that mood swing. And I always say, I disagree. You have not taken time to recognize and know yourself. Because when you spend time with yourself, when you spend time knowing yourself, you will recognize that there is something that happened before your mood changed. There was something you thought about. There was something somebody said that led to a change in your mood. So a mood change or a mood switch is triggered by something. And in order to recognize what causes it, you need to also recognize that it was triggered. And so, what am I saying? In talking about emotional intelligence, we are saying that as people who are trying to be emotionally intelligent, you should spend time knowing yourself. So I'm going to give all of us an assignment, a task. I want everybody, not to respond right now, but something for you to do in your spare time. I want you to write out the last 3 times I got angry. What led to it? I'll repeat that. The last 3 times I got angry, what led to it? The last 3 times I got irritated, what led to it? And you need to be very critical of yourself, very honest with yourself. Spend time deep diving into the answers. When the answer comes to you as something that is superficial, ask yourself, interrogate it, analyze it. What about this? If it's if the answer last time you got angry was because somebody called you a fool, ask yourself, what about that statement got me angry? Was it because the person that said it shouldn't have said it? Was it because it was wrong? Was it because there was something about the way the person said it that upset you? Ask yourself critical, honest questions. Abdurrahman said, self-awareness is self-reflection. So ask yourself honest questions and give yourself honest answers. Ask yourself, what are the things I do exceptionally well? What are the things that I can do without getting tired? What are the things that I do without complaining, without grumbling? What are those things? Right? Ask yourself all these questions and be honest with yourself, because it is important that you do not lie to yourself when you are doing a self-reflection. You can lie to people, but the worst thing you can do is to lie to yourself. It's self-reflection. You are reflecting. The best way to know yourself is through such assessment. You can take personality tests, you can ask your friends, but sometimes the only person that you can ask and get the real truth from is yourself. So sit down, get a biro and a paper, and write. Who am I? Write as much about yourself as you can. Who are you? Who are you? And then just spend time being honest with yourself. What is my temperament? What is my emotional makeup? What are the things that irritates me, that upsets me, that gets me angry? Write all these things and hopefully try and be honest with yourself in getting the answer. Number 2, self-regulation. And this is where I'm going to talk about the question that young man asked about. What causes problem? Is it your thoughts or your feelings? An emotional intelligence expert once said that when somebody gets angry, there are things that happen that we do not see. And let me try and see if I can share my whiteboard. I'll stop sharing my slide to share something else. I want to share a whiteboard. I want to share a whiteboard. Okay, found that. Let's share that. Okay, so this is the whiteboard. This young man said that, let's say text. So this young man said, what happened? He said that there is an argument. Someone says something to you. Someone makes a comment to you. Now, you heard the comment. You heard the comment, you interpreted the comment. You interpreted the comment that the person made and gave the comment a meaning. You gave the comment a meaning. I think you have come off mute. If the mistake, you can please go back on mute. You gave the comment a meaning. Now, based off of the meaning you gave the comment, you reacted to, no, sorry, not you reacted. You felt a particular way. And based on the way you felt, you acted a particular way. Do you see? Do you understand? Do you understand what I have just done? Everybody goes through this process. Someone said something to you. You heard what the person has said, and you interpreted what the person has said and gave that thing a meaning. There's a saying in emotional intelligence balance that says that nothing has meaning except the meaning you give to it. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give to it. Now, we all know that when somebody makes this sign, it is interpreted in our own culture as insult. It is interpreted in our own culture as an insult to your personality, as an insult to you, etc., etc., etc. In some other culture, it is not an insult, it is a greeting. Now imagine you were visiting that culture and they did that to you, you will get angry and say, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? But guess what? That person, in his own opinion, his own mind, hasn't done anything wrong. The person has simply greeted you. But you are taking it personal, you are taking it to mean an insult, and you are very angry, very upset, very irritated by the thing that the person has said. So your reaction to what somebody has said, to the things that have been said to you, is based on your interpretation of the thing that has been said, of the thing that has been done. That interpretation is what then invokes a feeling. Let's take it differently. Let me give you another example. You are walking on the road, and this is a very common thing that we've all heard before, a joke, and a car splashes water on you, and instantly you get angry. And then you go, God punish you. And immediately you say it, the car stops, and a military personnel comes out of the car. Every feeling of anger and annoyance that you were feeling before the person came down, what happens to that feeling? It disappears. Every anger you were feeling disappears because the Nigerian military, they are not known for kindness and patience. They are known for very brutal activities. And as a result, because of what you have now seen, you realize that you have made an error in judgment by making such a statement, and so you stop, and then immediately you begin to apologize. Say, I'm sorry, sir. It was a mistake. I'm sorry, sir. But when that person that comes out of that car is not a military person, is a civilian just like you, or even if a military person in civilian clothing, you still begin to get angry, say, can't you see how you started on me? Can't you see what you did to me? Because in your own, what you are seeing, that person is a Nigerian, is a civilian just like you, and you can insult him. So you realize that you can just stop. The moment that person says, hello, Sergeant, you recognize that, I have passed my power, and what do? You stop again, and you begin to apologize. So the things you see, the things you hear, we give meaning to them. We give interpretations to them, and then those interpretations that we give to them help us to feel either powerful in case of a civilian or powerless in case of a military personnel. And then that feeling that fuels the way we respond, the way we react. And so when we talk about self-regulation, when we talk about self-management, we are talking about the fact that you have to recognize that Yoruba say, it's not as hot, the water that is boiling, you don't put inside and carry it as it's boiling. You let it cool down before it burns your hand. So self-regulation is the ability to self-manage. It is the ability to self-control. It is the ability to self-behave, to self-coordinate, to manage yourself in a way and manner that allows you to be productive. So when we talk about knowing yourself, like we said, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know your triggers, know the things that upset you, know the things that makes you angry, know the things that causes your mood swings, and then begin to self-manage. All those behaviors that you have seen that you now recognize that those behaviors are not productive. They are not allowing you to maximize your true self. You then begin to coordinate. You then begin to manage. You then begin to control. You then begin to put it in check so that you are living your true potentials. So that you are living your true potentials. Now, we have talked about self-awareness, self-regulation. The third component of emotional intelligence is motivation, or rather, like I like to call it, self-motivation. Before I describe this, before I explain this, I want somebody to come off mute. Anybody, no, not anybody, raise your hand. The first person to raise their hand is the person that gets that chance. So, first person to raise their hand is the person that gets that chance. Raise your hand before I ask the question. Nobody's raising their hand. No hands raised. So I can, okay, it's not a trap, don't worry. I am sure you know it's not a trap. So raise your hand. Raise your hand, feel free. Ejiro Adu, thank you. Grace, James, thank you. Be bold, don't be afraid. What's the worst thing I would do? What's the worst thing I would do? Nothing. Cannot do anything, I'm nice. Am I not nice? Am I not nice? The man has said self-motivation is the ability to propel yourself. I seem nice by Oluwatosin. Ejiro said I'm very nice. Ha ha ha. Ejiro, I don't believe you. You seem like you're making fun of that statement. No problem. But I am nice. Whatever you believe is your belief. I know I am nice, and therefore I am nice. Okay. So Ejiro has raised this up. Ejiro, please come off mute and let me ask you my question. Ejiro, come off mute. Yeah, okay, off mute, Ejiro. Great. Ejiro, I have a question for you. It's a simple question. And this is the question. There are two individuals. First, individual A, he goes to school every day only because they give him biscuits in school. Individual B goes to school every day because he likes school. Who do you think will be more successful in school and why?
Okay, I think the individual B, because his motivation, he has a personal motivation. It's not externally motivated. It's internally, and the person will want to continue despite anything can happen. The biscuit can stop one day or the other, but that internal motivation is very key.
Thank you very much, Ejiro. Thank you very much. Okay, Netega, I'm not going to answer you. I'm a chameleon, yes, but I am still nice. I am nice now. So, okay, Netega, I'm nice. Okay, thank you very much, Ejiro. So, I like the words you use, Ejiro. You said the motivation is intrinsic. So there's intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. There's internal and external motivation. When an individual's motivators are gotten from the external, from the outside, from external factors, the moment those external factors stop, that motivation stop. The reason why you do those things you do automatically stop. You no longer do them because you have lost your zeal. You have lost your drive. You have lost the reason why you do those things you do. And so the point here is, I want all of us at the end of this class to also write out what are your motivators. And please let your motivators not be tied to anything external. If your motivation is tied to an external factor, then it is now extrinsic and no longer intrinsic. And remember what Ejiro said, the moment those external factors stop, you stop being motivated. So I want everybody to take time out and write out, what are my motivators? And I want your motivators to be tied to you. Let them be internal. Let them be things that propel you as a person alone. Are we still together? Are we still together? If we're together, please say yes in the chat box so I know. Okay, great, great, great. We are still together. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I like that we're still together. Okay, so motivators or motivations is what drives you, what propels you, what makes us to do the things that we do, what makes us to go from being a happy person, from being a sad person to a happy person, what makes us to wake up every day, even when we are tired, and still continue to try, and still continue to push, and still continue to go, even when the journey gets tough. The next, and this are so I said the first three are related to yourself. How do you develop yourself? I'm talking about self-awareness. Self-awareness being the fact that, are you aware of your own self? Self-management. How do you manage yourself? How do you control yourself? How do you relate? How do you deal with anger? How do you deal with mood swings? How do you control your own excesses? And then self-motivation, how do you recognize your driving factor? Let me try and try with you all together. A person who knows what his motivators are in life is a person who is self-aware. And because he is self-aware and knows what his motivators are, he will continue to self-manage and not allow external factors to make him self-destruct. A person who is self-motivated will wake up every morning, even though he is tired, put his own self under control of himself and do the things that he needs to do. Nothing changes, nothing stops him, nothing derails him, nothing makes him tired. A person who is self-motivated is happy to continue to do the things he needs to do. That is self-motivation. Now, all these things are about me, the individual who needs to develop emotional intelligence, me. And now I have developed my emotional intelligence, and now it's time for me to relate with people around me. It's time for me to talk to people around me. It's time for me to have relationships. What are the things that I need to do to build that ability of that part of myself? Number one, which is the fourth component of emotional intelligence, is empathy. Empathy. What is empathy? Empathy is the ability to understand how people feel. Empathy is the ability to understand how people feel. It is the ability to recognize that nobody is mad. Nobody is crazy. Nobody is inherently stupid. People behave the way they behave based off of certain factors that have happened to them over time. It is the ability to make excuses for people's inadequacies. It is not just knowing that this person is sad, it is knowing that there's a reason why this person is sad, and that reason is valid to them. It is recognizing that this person is sad, I should not make fun of them. This person is angry, I should not rile them up. This person is not in the mood to play, and therefore I should respect that person's mood. So it is a skill that involves other skills. It is a skill that involves other skills. It involves collaboration. It involves connecting with people, emotional connection. It involves identifying the various needs that people have. It involves negotiation. So this person is feeling this particular way. However, I need them to feel a different way so that job can get better, can get done. How do I negotiate with them so that they will move from where they are to where I need them to be so that we can be more productive on the job? And these are the skills that allows for you to show or display empathy. Empathy is not just saying, I feel what you feel, I understand what you go through. It is beyond that. It is recognizing that I understand what you go through, and so I recognize that you don't want me to talk right now. You don't want me to rationalize what you're feeling. You just want me to shut up and allow you to feel your feel and probably just sit down with you and be quiet. A lot of us think that displaying empathy means talking. No, displaying empathy does not mean talking. It does not mean talking. It simply means recognizing that this person wants to be left alone and leaving them alone. It recognizes that this person wants you to sit by their side and just hold their hand. It means that this person is having an emotion that they cannot express, but you are not the one that's supposed to help them to express it. So how can I be with them and let them know that I feel the things they are feeling while also respecting their various principles, their various emotions? And that is what empathy is. Recognizing emotions in people and responding adequately, or rather responding appropriately to the emotions that that person has displayed. Responding to the emotions that that person has displayed. So I hope that is clear. If that is clear, okay, thank you very much, Grace, for your question. What is the difference between empathy and sympathy? What is the difference between empathy and sympathy? I will write this question down and I will take it at the end after the next slide I want to explain. Empathy, and I like that because I hear it all the time. Empathy and sympathy. Empathy and sympathy, what is the difference? The last component of emotional intelligence, which also deals about how you manage relationship with other people, is social skills. Is what we call social skills. And what are social skills? Social skills, the way I put it, the way I like to put it, very simple, is every skill and any skill that allows for professional social interaction, that allows for appropriate social interaction, that allows for acceptable social interaction, that allows for required social interaction. Any skill that allows you to behave in a socially acceptable way when interacting with people, whether your co-workers, whether your friends, whether your colleagues, whether your bosses, whether your business partners, anybody, any skill that allows you to interact with them in the appropriate manner. So that skill sometimes can be speaking to them politely. That skill sometimes can be listening with the right nonverbal skill. That skill sometimes can be exhibiting leadership when it is required. That skill sometimes can be being able to persuade them to do things the way you would like them to do it, depending on the situation. That skill can be active listening skill. That skill can be appropriate use of words in your verbal communication. Is every skill that allows you to adequately and appropriately engage with people. That is social skills. And how do we build social skills? How do we build social skills? It is simple. It is recognizing and putting into practice everything that I have said, from self-awareness to self-regulation to motivation to empathy. It is being aware of the moment, of the day and time that you are in. It is recognizing that this moment in time, I am expected to behave in this particular way. And that way might change depending on where it is that you are. And so that is it. Social skills is an extremely important skill in managing relationships. It is a skill that requires when people are talking, you recognize that two people are talking and you want to interrupt. You wait for an appropriate amount of time. When somebody's on the phone and you want to get their attention, you don't be shouting and be waving in their face like this. You stay somewhere where they can see you, allow them some time to recognize your presence and respond or react or answer you or give you attention. It is a skill. I wish I could demonstrate, but then I don't have a partner here so that I can use to demonstrate. But I do believe I would speak with Dapo about how to send a video to you guys that shows the demonstration of what it is I am talking about. But yes, that is what I mean when I talk about social skills. Any questions so far? Okay. Any questions so far? If there are any questions, please raise your hand or drop them in the chat box. Grace, I see your question. It's still the same question. I'm going to answer right away. If there are any questions, please drop them. I'm going to wait for 30 seconds, and then I am going to continue to answer just Grace's question. Um, 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time up. No questions. Okay. So I'll take Grace's question. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. Somebody just asked a question. In a situation where, what is your concept about conflict and how does AI helps? Okay. In a situation where you work with someone on the project and the person takes commendation for it, how do you manage that? Okay. So I'll take those 3 questions and then we'll round up the class. Where do we draw the line between AI and allowing others to take advantage of us? Just ask 2 questions. Okay, so please, no more questions. I'll take just these 4 questions and that will be the end of it. So we'll start with Grace's first question. Grace's first question was, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy? Sympathy and empathy. I will put it very simply, but then I'm going to send a video to Dapo and I'm going to ask him to share with the rest of us. It's a video that I believe that is the best explanation for the explanation of what the difference between empathy and sympathy is. I have searched over time and that is the one video that has always adequately explained the difference between empathy and sympathy. It's a 3-minute video, very short, it will be very useful. But in very simple terms, sympathy is recognizing somebody's emotion and feeling sorry for them. Feeling for them. Empathy is recognizing somebody's emotion and feeling with them. Difference. Feeling for them and feeling with them. So if I feel for you, I don't necessarily have to feel with you. I just say, hey, yeah, I feel bad for you. That's simple. Empathy is recognizing that I don't necessarily have to respond. I don't necessarily have to say anything. I don't necessarily have to speak up. I recognize that there is an emotion this person has exhibited or has displayed or has portrayed, and I shouldn't feel compelled to answer that person. It is feeling a feeling or feeling an emotion with the owner of the emotion while not taking away their ability to feel what they feel. Feeling with people in a way that is empowering and allows that person to be all that they can be. I hope that answers your question. In a situation where you worked on a project with somebody and the person takes commendation for it, and then how do you draw the line between AI and others take advantage of it? I'll mention 2 questions as well. Look at it this way. Remember earlier I said somebody will do something or say something, you will hear it, you will interpret it in a way, your interpretation gives meaning to it, and that meaning gives you a feeling, and then it affects you. And then remember, I also mentioned and I said, nothing has meaning except the meaning that you have given to it. Nothing has meaning except the meaning that you have given to it. And so, if you decide that this person is taking advantage of me, it's the decision that you made. If you choose to give it a different meaning and say, I am learning how to better take credit for my own work. You give it a different meaning and say, I am learning how to better utilize my own skill. You give it a different meaning, you have a different interpretation of what has just happened. The meaning you give to something, it is the meaning that it has. So if you feel that the person is manipulating you, then the person is manipulating you. If you feel that the person is taking advantage of you, then the person is taking advantage of you. But if you feel like the person is doing something that affects your own ability to be productive, have a conversation. I always say it is best to have a conversation with somebody about how what they are doing is making you feel than to harbor ill feelings towards the person. So if somebody is doing something to you that makes you feel a particular way, have a conversation. Speak up about it, and then share feedback. Share how it is making you feel and why it is making you feel that way. I hope that answers those questions. Okay. There are a lot of questions coming in, and I literally have 2 more minutes. So I'm going to take, please, if you have any other question, send them to Adedapo, and he will find a way to send them to me.
Okay, let's give you 5 to 10 minutes to address the questions.
Oh, thank you very much, Adedapo. That's very generous of you. Okay, so I would address your questions. Somebody asked a question about conflict management and AI. Great. What is conflict? First of all, this might sound strange to some of you, but when you study conflict management, you will hear phrases like conflict is good, conflict is important, conflict is useful, conflict is needed for team productivity and team cohesiveness. So when you talk about conflict, I would say conflict is great. Conflict is nice. Conflict is welcome in your environment, in your office. Wherever it is you find yourself, conflict is good. Why? That's the question. The question is why. Conflict shows that there are people in an organization who care about the goals, the desires, the plans of the organization. They care about it well enough to speak up. And so what you then have to do as the lead, or as the manager, or as leadership, or as a member of the leadership team, is to now harness that conflict and channel it into a productive way. How do I mean? So you see an opportunity for conflict, and you recognize that that opportunity for conflict is an opportunity for team growth, is for team unitedness, is for team productivity. And so what do you now do? You now begin to utilize it. So conflict is gotten from disagreement or misalignment of opinions. Different people having different opinion about something. How do you then take that differences, that disagreement, that that situation where people do not agree, and then use it to build alignment? So there are different tools when you study conflict management. There are different tools that you can use to study to utilize it. One of the most effective tools is communication, group communication. Put everybody in a trust circle and create an atmosphere of trust where you can confidently say that in this circle, everything that is being said in this circle is being said from a place of trust. You have to trust that whatever is being said is for the betterment of everybody. And how do you build trust? You build trust by building group purpose. So you then put everybody in a group, in a circle, and allow everybody to have unfiltered conversations. Unfiltered conversations. What are unfiltered conversations? Conversations where I can openly express how I am feeling without judgment. It is important to mention that there should be no judgment. Don't make fun of people. Don't judge them, so that people are happy and willing to speak up. And then after that moment when everybody has spoken, when everybody has shared how they feel, you then begin to address those feelings. You then begin to give people an opportunity to express how they will prefer to be interacted with, how they will prefer to be dealt with. And so, like I said, conflict is great, but it allows for a group cohesion, group unity, group cohesiveness. That is that about the conflict question. Abila Aruna said, excuse me, it's been said, one way you can understand the emotions of others is by understanding their personality. Does it mean that we should first get to know the personality of the people around us before attempting to manage their emotions? And then your second question is, what are some of the signs of low emotional intelligence? Let me start by taking your first question. Personality and managing emotions. If I have to work with you, I have to understand how you prefer to work. So, to your point around, Okoyemi, I skipped your question. Please retype it. I missed it. Please type it again. I'm so sorry about that, Okoyemi. Yes, Abila's question. So, Abila's question. I just forgot the question. Let me check it again. Okay, understanding personality and then using that personality to form, recognizing their emotions, and then understanding signs of low emotional intelligence. If I am working with somebody, I talked about this earlier. I talked about the fact that when you get into a new job, your first 90 days, your best way to utilize it is to understand the terrain, to understand the ways of working, understand the culture, understand how things are going. As you're understanding the terrain, as you're understanding the culture, as you're understanding how things are going, it's also important that you understand the politics at play in that organization. And a lot of people don't like to hear this. In every company, there's politics. So you have to also understand the politics at play in that company. And in understanding the politics at play in that company, you then begin to see that Mr. Ezekiel Awosusi likes to be treated as a boss. He is the boss and he likes to be treated as a boss. Madam Chiamaka Eke is also a boss, but she's more playful and more friendly. You now begin to recognize that, by virtue of knowing how they both prefer to work. Please, people mistake personality for preferred working patterns. They are two different things. Preferred working patterns are different from personality. They can be the same in some instances, but in more instances, they are different. So what you want to study is people's preferred working patterns, and then use that understanding of their preferred working patterns to form the basis of your relationship with them. A personality is different. I have a friend who, when she is working, she's a very straight person, very focused. You would never believe she knows how to play. But if you ever get to interact with this friend outside of the office, you will have a difficulty understanding the person outside and the person inside, because they are two different people. And so recognize that personalities are different from preferred working patterns. And so Abila, what you want to understand, what you want to study is the person's preferred working patterns, and then use that preferred working patterns to form the basis of your interactions with them. The second question about low emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is people management. How do you relate with people? How do you talk to people? How do you make people feel around you? I believe that if you are able to see somebody who is very brash, who is very condescending, whose manner of speaking demotivates you, demoralizes you, you are already seeing signs of somebody who has low emotional intelligence. You're already seeing somebody who has very poor self-control, self-management. You're already seeing all those signs, and then you are able to better manage it. Question. Okay, yeah, I've answered that. Abib, he said, how can a difficult co-worker who fails to rectify his or bad in the workplace be managed? That is feedback. So the first thing is you give feedback. You see, there's a colleague who is not producing results, who is failing, who is not doing the things that they are supposed to be doing. The first step, share feedback with the person. Now, when you are sharing feedback, you have to recognize that every feedback has one goal. One goal and one goal only. If the feedback is not fulfilling that goal, then it's not feedback, it's condemnation, it's rebuke, it's abuse, it's not feedback. Feedback is shared with the goal of increasing improvement, increasing productivity, making the person a better person. And because of that, when you are giving anybody, when you are giving them feedback, you have to share what they are doing, how it is impacting on productivity, and how you feel they can do better. What they are doing, how it is impacting on productivity, and what you feel they can do better. Because if you share what they are doing without sharing how it is impactful on productivity, the person can take it as, bad belle, you are beefing me. If you share what they are doing and how it's impacting on productivity, but you don't share how they can improve, what you think they can do to get better, then you have not really achieved the aim of feedback. And so the three of them have to be present. What is it that they are doing? How is it impacting on productivity? And how do you think they can get better? And if you don't know how they can get better, point them in areas where they can get resource materials that helps them get better. When the person is still not getting better after all these things, then maybe you want to involve somebody else, or maybe a coach or a mentor that can help them with managing themselves. And then the last question, you said I skipped your question. I'm very sure I answered your question. And when I was answering your question, I talked about the fact that nothing has meaning except the meaning you give to it. If you think the person is taking commendation for your work, then call the person and have a conversation with the person. Explain to the person how you feel about them taking commendation for your work and how it is making you feel. If you don't want to do that, then when you submit your work, put there that this work was done by me. That way the person cannot take commendation for the work that you are doing. But it's important that if you feel a particular way towards something that somebody is doing, you should be very open to discussing it without judgment. Discuss without judging. So how do you do that? Explain what the person is doing, but don't make any accusation. Don't go and say, you're taking competition from my work. Go and rather say, I noticed that I did this, but you submitted it as your own. Can I ask why? Can you please explain why? That way you're trying to understand what happened as opposed to passing on judgment to the person's actions. I hope that's clear. And I hope I have spent the 10 minutes judiciously answering all the questions that I have been asked. Okay, no more questions. I see that I have answered all the questions. Before I hand over back to Dapo, please give me 2 minutes. Before I hand over back to Dapo, I would like to just ask one simple question. One simple question. So far, we have talked about emotional intelligence. We have talked about why emotional intelligence is important, how to build emotional intelligence. We have talked about the 5 components of emotional intelligence. And I have tried to answer the questions that you have around emotional intelligence. I believe I have tried to do that. So I would like to take 3 persons, I used 4 in the beginning, 3 persons to tell me what it is they have found most useful from this class and how they apply it in their own life. I'll pick 3 people by myself. I will pick Christopher, I will pick Okpayemi, and then the last person is, I need a female this time around, and the female is Nafisa Akinpelu. So Nafisat Akipelu, the three of you that I called your name, please, one at a time, come off mute and tell me one thing you have learned from this class and how you apply it in your life. Let's go. Who's going first? Or you can just type. Nafisat, please go first. Nafisat, please go first.
I'd like to say a very big thank you for the wonderful session. What I've learned so far is how to manage one's emotion and how to also understand the people around you. You don't need to think about yourself every time. You need to understand people as well. So
thank you. Thank you very much. Okpayemi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for this wonderful class. I really learned a lot. So I will be talking about what I learned. My take-off points from this class is emotional intelligence, just as entailed, how to understand your own emotion, how to be aware, self-awareness, and be motivated. Know exactly what is motivating one to achieve certain things, and how to deal with empathy and social skills. And those are the things I'm actually in this class. I'm actually learning. I'm going to be putting them into action.
Okay. Thank you. Who was the third person I called? I can't remember the third person I called.
Christopher.
Christopher. Yes, Christopher, let's hear you. Christopher. Where is Christopher? Okay, if Christopher is gone, I will be calling somebody else. Ezekiel Awususi. Ezekiel.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for this amazing session. Yeah, I've been able to learn a lot from this class, the importance of emotional intelligence, how to control your emotions, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you feel, and not just to yourself, also to others too. You know, you have to put others, you have to consider your environment before you act. I attended one program a few months ago. It was about anger management, and that program really opened my idea towards a lot of things, because I realized that as human beings, we have different trigger points. So this is where our feelings. In fact, this particular session is related to the book that was assigned to us that we should be reading, and we should always do book review every morning as a man thinks. So the way our personality type determines our emotions, but it is our own duty to now ensure that we become intelligent with these emotions so that we'll make use of it in the right way. When somebody gets you angry, you try your best to, show that you are intelligent, show that you can handle the situation. You shouldn't allow your emotions to take over your actions. Instead,
awesome.
That's what I can.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Ezekiel. Thank you all very much. I thoroughly enjoyed this session. I know you all did. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll be handing over back to Adedapo right now. So wonderful time. Thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your training and all the very best. Adedapo, you with us now?
Hello, Jide.
Okay, yes. So over to you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much for your session, Jide. In fact, we really enjoyed the session, and well, I'm not surprised. So this is not the first time I'm experiencing it, so I'm not surprised. But what's expected? Yeah, excellence every time. So, thank you very much for your session, Jide, and it was lovely, and we really love the fact that you came in on time. In fact, you were in when we were doing the book review, and that was really commendable. I will I will say one of the or two people from the participants to share their appreciation for Mr. Jide about the class today. So Grace James, do you have anything to say?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Jide, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Like, I enjoyed every bit of it. There was no dull moment at all, and you killed it. Thank you so much, sir. We're grateful.
Okay, thank you. Oluwatosin, do you have anything to say about today's session, about Mr. Jide's presentation?
Yes. Good everyone. I'd like to say a very big thank you to Mr. Jide. I think he really took us through the whole lesson and learned a lot, especially from empathy. Because most times when people tell us what they are feeling, we usually want to tell them how bad we felt too some other time, and we don't take time to sit and feel with them. And I think I learned a lot from that. So I'm saying a big thank you to Mr. Jide. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Jide, thank you very much. We'll continue our own talk personally. I will reach out to you via WhatsApp, via mail, to give you any updates about your session today. Thank you very much for your time. You can leave us to the class now. If you still want to stay, you can stay, Mr. Jide. So, dear participants, hope you enjoyed the class today. And this is the Jide.
Yes, so somebody asked for my LinkedIn.
Okay.
Let's connect on this. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp and you can share with the rest of them. Okay?
Or you can just type it in the chat session.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. So today is the first day of the second week, and I hope we've been learning a lot. Hope we all got the form that was sent to us for the submission of the assignment, because I still see some people still sending it via mail. Did we all get that link to the Google form? Hello, you guys can unmute and speak, please.
Yes, we got the link, sir.
So I can still see some people sending it via email. Why is that? Is it that the link is not working well? So if you submitted the assignment earlier through the email before the link was sent for the Google form, please try and submit it again via the Google form. Upload it via the Google form, please. If you submitted your job hunting, job strategy assignment earlier via the email that was provided to you, please kindly go back again to the form link that was sent to you and use the link to submit the assignment. Can you all hear me? Can see someone saying they can't hear me. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
So if you submitted the job hunting strategy assignment earlier via the email that was provided before the link to the Google form was given, kindly submit via that Google form again. Thank you very much. Then I think Mr. Agogo has some information for you. Mr. Agogo, are you there? We can't hear you. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I would like to just a few announcements. Your project, can everybody hear me? Just type in session. If you can hear me, I just want to push stop. You can hear me. You can hear me, say yes. Hear me, say yes. I just want to confirm.
We can hear you, sir, but
my audio is not clear.
I can't hear you.
It's not clear. Okay, just give me a few seconds. Let me switch to another system. Just a few seconds. Hello, can you hear me?
The audio is bad. We can hardly hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
It's better now.
It's better now. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, everyone. I hope people had a very, very good session today, emotional intelligence. So I'm not going to waste much of your time because we have spent a lot of time. We have some projects. You are supposed to work on a project. Each group is supposed to be assigned a project that you are going to work on. It's part of the requirement for this program. And these projects are real life problems, real life projects. These are projects from business and organizations. So each group, on or before tomorrow morning, each group will be getting their project and you'll be getting an instruction for your project. Now, this is how you are going to, this is what we expect from you for that project. We expect that you work as a team to ensure that you deliver on that project. At the end of, towards the end of this month, you'll be presenting your project as a team to you'll be presenting it to a panel, a panel of experts, and some of them are CEOs, directors of businesses and organizations and all that. And this is one big opportunity that you have to shine, and some of them will actually lead to job. For those projects that might not lead to job, it may give you the kind of experience that you will not get. This is not the project you did in school. This is a real life project. So it's not a literature review and all those things that you did in school. This is solving a real life problem. So even though you don't get a job from this, it can be used in your CV. You can quote that this is something that you have done and you contributed to this particular project. And so this project is very important. You will be required to do a lot of research. They are intellectually stretching, so it will stretch your intellect. So after assigning this project to you, I will give you contact person in some of these organizations where you can liaise with them to gather more information. So you are going to do desktop research and even primary research to be able to gather this information. But try to do your best because you can never tell what will come out of it. So tomorrow, all heads of departments will be getting their projects. Number two, please, heads of department, I'm going to tell the executive assistant to follow you up on this. Fola is her name. For heads of department, I need a piece of information for you, from you. This is to help you in terms of your internship. So heads of department, I want you to collect all, collect the following information: names, registration number, and the course you studied. Collect these three information for me. Your name, the course you studied in school. This should be submitted to the head of each team. The head of each team, you will submit to the assistant, the executive assistant. Her name is Fola. She will be communicating to you directly, maybe through WhatsApp or individually. I want this information on or before tomorrow session, please. This is very important. It's for your own sake, because we are trying to see how we can get you into internship space, and even assign you to your career counselor and career mentor. I think that will be all for now. Hope there's, is there any question? If you need any clarification, but that will be all for now. If you're not clear about the project or what happened, you can just let me know. Are you clear about the project? If you are clear about it, just say yes. Just say yes. Let me be sure that if I can get about 2 or 3, then maybe that'll be fine. And if you're not clear, you can, okay. Oh, okay, that's great. So team lead, this is very, very, please don't use this don't joke with this, because this is interesting, and you're going to learn a lot from it. The experience is priceless, trust me. Most of the projects you're going to do are of national importance. I say that again, they are of national importance. And it's a real life project. There are no theories. So that is very important. Okay, thank you very much. That will be all.
Okay, one last important information, yeah. All group heads, make sure that you get this from each members of your group. Please, if it's possible, you write this down. The assistant secretary will also be following you up on this. You are supposed to submit this latest by Thursday. Today is Tuesday, right? So latest by Thursday. Each person, you are supposed to submit 3 lists of companies that you wish to intern for, phone number of a contact person in that organization, name of the contact person, and possibly the email of the contact person. Let me go over that again. Three companies, list 3 companies that you wish to intern for. Get a contact person in the company, their phone number, then their email. The good thing about getting a contact person there is, don't go and get contact person of the secretary or the front desk person. Get the contact person of the CEO, the HR person that is in charge of recruiting and things like that. You are expected to submit this before Thursday. And again, make sure that in your list, I know we all PWZ, we all want to work for Schneider Electric, we all want to work for KPMG, but be realistic as possible and give realistic options. So probably if you choose KPMG one, I don't expect you to be doing Schneider Electric as second and third one. Be realistic, look at your locality. If you're in Lagos, if you're in Abuja, look at the people that are doing things that you want to do and you would like to intern for. In your list, if I see KPMG, Schneider Electric, and things like that, these are companies that when they are recruiting for internship roles, they have some specific skills and values that they need from you, and which you are still coming up to speed with and you don't have presently. So do yourself a favor by giving yourself good options in these 3 lists. So let me go over what you are supposed to submit again. Names of 3 companies that you would like to intern with, right? A name of the contact person, phone number of the contact person, email of the contact person. I don't want you bringing email of like a company and say maybe info@pz.com. Those are generic mails. I want you to bring email of people like, okay, a0@pz.com and things like that. Those are emails of people that can be reached out to. I don't know if you guys understand it or you have any question or clarification on this. Do you all understand this, please? Damilare, you can speak.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you very much for this information, sir. So I was going to ask that, is it a must we get to submit lists for places we want to intern with, especially if we don't have contact details of people who work there?
I don't understand the question.
You're saying that we should submit names, 3 names of organizations we want to intern with contact details of someone who works there, either the CEO or the HR director. So I'm asking that, is it a must we get to submit this list you're asking us to submit if we don't have contact details of organizations we want to intern with?
It is a must. You need to find it. It is a must you submit it. It's an assignment. It's a must you submit it. These are cheap ways to get this information. You might not probably know anybody there, but you can get some of this information via their LinkedIn page, looking at who works with, via their LinkedIn page, reaching out to them and things like that. So it's an assignment.
Sorry, sir. Why I'm asking this is because I've done something similar to what you're saying, and people have their personal preferences with their personal email, so they don't. And while some who want to give you an audience tell you at the moment we are not taking email, they just tend to be conservative about it. So that's why I'm asking, because I've done my research around this before.
So you need to.
Okay, let me say something about this. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, getting email. If you do a lot of research and you are really good at researching and digging deep, you can get almost, I didn't say all, almost anybody. Just like Ajibat have one way out of many ways. Now, you may not get direct access to the HRO or even the CEO or a top person there. It's one hack that you can use to get an. All you need to get somebody that is in that organization. Now, in every organization, there's a way, there's a standard in which they write their email. So, for example, my email now, if you notice, my email is .akporido@knowledge. Now, if you notice, just before my surname, having that information alone, you can guess what is Adedapo's email. Without Adedapo even giving you his email, you can get. So this is one hack that you can use to get email. Another one is that you can send a direct
We can't hear you, sir.
Your network is gone again. It's gone. Oga.
Hello. So, hello, can you hear me?
Don't worry.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Sorry, oh, so okay. So, where did I leave from before I was yanked out of this? So, like I said before I left, I'm sure I know. The second, so the first hack is to identify anybody's email and understand the pattern. Number two is through LinkedIn. So not everybody puts his email address on it. So when you check LinkedIn, you may not see the email address. What you can do is now send a direct message. Now that direct message, you are not asking for their email first. You just want to get to know them. So you can just send a short, brief request. And hello, my name is so this. I notice you are there. I'm interested in this organization. I see that you are doing a lot of great stuff, and I would like to know more about your organization and what you do. I'll be happy to connect with you. Something of that brief nature. Once the person connects with you, as you begin to build that conversation a little bit, then you can say, just ask for email, not even phone number. Or if you anybody, email is open to everybody. It is phone number that is more, people are more careful. Email is easily accessible, plus an email, and just search. That's the third one. There are so many ways to get somebody email and all that. But just try your best as much as possible to be able to do this. We want to see how we can be able to help you as much as possible get those intern positions. Just try your best. I know there are some that may be difficult, but do the best that you can. I'm sure there are some of you who are experts in doing this that are listening to me now, that even know more than what I'm even saying. And so you can rub minds together and see how you can help yourself to be able to get this email. But if it's almost impossible, just also let us know. But make an effort, please. It's very critical so that we can help you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Agogo. So today's session has officially come to an end. So tomorrow's session, 10 to 12, will be the teamwork and collaborative skills session that will hold from 10 to 12. It will be taken by Ibei. She's from Wave Academy. So she will be taking the session tomorrow. And then also we said we have some instructions. And I think during the orientation, we read out some of the instructions, but I saw that happening today, is that when we are on live Zoom session, we don't get to eat or get to, think. And again, if your background is distracting, probably there are piles of dirty clothes or your background is not suitable. I told us an option for that. But today I saw some of those things. I saw someone probably drinking tea. I also saw someone that the background was very distracting. And these things were instructed during the program. These things were instructed during I expect us to take note of these things and work on it as we go on via the program. So thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Till we meet tomorrow again. Any other information that we need to pass on to you? Oh, one more thing. The group have the link for the feedback form, right? Hello, do we still have the link to the feedback form?
Yes, sir. We still have it, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, so sir. Kindly, the group head should type in the link again and make it available on the group WhatsApp and your personal WhatsApp so that people can fill the feedback link. So as we are finishing now, make those links available on the group and your personal groups so that everybody can fill the feedback form. Okay. And if you are watching on YouTube, miss this session, you are supposed to go back to the YouTube, watch it, and fill the feedback form. If you don't do that, it's to your own detriment. So thank you very much for your time. It will be nice to meet you again tomorrow. Bye for now.